Happy holidays, everyone! If you have a chunk at home, like me, if you have a pet at home, you may be wondering, what food should I give them? What food should I avoid? And that's a great question. So we're gonna get into that. So just like humans, there are certain things that pets shouldn't eat. For example, a human wouldn't eat poison, wouldn't eat bleach, wouldn't eat chemicals that aren't good for us. Similarly, there are certain things that you should not feed your pet. Ever. In fact, there are certain foods that we can eat that are actually harmful to pets. First off, grapes. So grapes may not be a staple of most holiday dinners, but it is probably something you should know about. So while grapes can be a super delicious treat for most humans, pretty good for pets, they can actually be really toxic. The weird thing about grapes is that we still don't even know exactly what is going on inside this little round fruit that causes this damage in pets. We literally have no idea. In fact, the thing about grapes is you can give a grape to your pet and your pet can be completely fine, completely harmless, nothing wrong with it. Or you can give a grape to your pet and your pet can come down with life-threatening kidney disease and ultimately die from it. And that includes raisins too. You may think it's just grapes, but raisins are just dried grapes, PSA. But yeah, I mean, it's so weird. Just avoid grapes, man. Not worth it. Oh, hold up. Okay, well, I'm gonna pick all these up before my pet eats them and dies. Okay. So feeding pets food that's really high in fat, like ham, like gravy, like turkey skin, should be avoided. The thing about those high-fat foods is they can actually trigger your pet into developing a condition called pancreatitis, which is when the pancreas just gets really inflamed and nasty and it causes your pet to have vomiting, maybe some diarrhea, and it can be a pretty costly treatment at the vet because odds are your pet isn't used to eating such high-fat foods based on what they're normally getting every day. So giving them that extra push of those high-fat foods, especially on pets that are at risk of already developing gastrointestinal signs that are really sensitive to different foods, can easily push them over into a range where you don't want them to be. And it's also going to cause a hole to burn in your wallet when you're at the vet because you're getting treatment from all this pancreatitis and vomiting and bloody diarrhea and all these things that can be avoided by just avoiding those fatty foods. Okay, next up. Another thing that is completely fine for humans, but is definitely a big no-no in pets, is things like onions, garlic powder, and chives. Now, the thing about garlic and onions is that one of the ingredients in them is actually toxic to pets and can cause hemolysis of their red blood cells, basically when the red blood cells burst open. And there are some self-proclaimed pet health experts that will say, oh, a little bit of garlic is fine for your pet, it's not gonna hurt it. At the end of the day, you're still giving your pet a toxic substance that can cause red blood cell lysis. Even by giving just a little bit, you can cause that to happen, which consequently can cause your pet to be sick, nauseous, not have as much red blood cells, and can even lead to things like chronic anemia, which is just a chronic low state of red blood cells, something that you definitely don't want your pet to have. And the thing about giving pets garlic and things like that is you may think you're being completely fine. You may think, oh, it's just a dash. It's not gonna hurt little Pablo. It's not gonna hurt my little pet. But the thing is, you may not even know what's going on in your pet. Your pet can't tell you when its blood cells are literally bursting open from hemolysis. You may not even notice a change in your pet while your pet is literally there losing red blood cells like, I can't breathe, because your red blood cells supply oxygen throughout your body, including pets. So whatever health benefits may come from giving a tiny bit of garlic, you can certainly get those things. You can certainly get those health benefits by doing other things that do not have the nasty side effects of onions and garlic and pets. And the thing about garlic is it's like 5 times more potent than onions, so definitely stay away from garlic, especially in cats. Cats cannot take any of it. Their red blood cells will just die off. Cats are sensitive, okay? So avoid garlic, avoid onions, and avoid giving them foods that have garlic and onions in it. I'm not sure who gives their pet raw yeast, raw dough, but apparently giving pets raw yeast, raw dough, can cause the dough to literally rise in their stomach. I'm not sure if you've heard of bloat in dogs. The scientific term for it is GDV, or gastrodilatory volvulus, which is basically when the stomach flips on itself, especially in large breed dogs. And when the stomach flips on itself, it cuts off blood supply to the rest of the body. The stomach dies off and your pet will then also die if it's not corrected, turn back over itself. Really common in large breed dogs. Like if you're baking cookies, if you're baking bread, don't give them any of the dough. Avoid it like you would avoid eating raw cookie dough if you're afraid of salmonella, even though a lot of people aren't anymore because I guess standards are a little bit better than they used to, even though I probably wouldn't eat raw eggs unless I was like in Japan or something where they have pretty good raw egg standards. Wow, that was a tangent. And like, I really don't even know if I need to talk about this one, but like, we really don't need to have a Jessica and the Love is Blind show moment. We don't need that. Stay away from giving your pets any sort of alcohol, alcoholic beverages, White Claws. It's just not good. And the fact is, pets are even more sensitive to it than humans. It's not okay for your uncle to be holding the wine glass down and letting them take a little lick. Don't do it. If you see your uncle literally screaming at him and telling you you're killing my dog, stop it, old man. This is not okay. Just be warned. Your pet may be interested, but just like a little kid is interested, you don't give it to them, okay? No wine. Stop it. Bad. Turkey bones. I'm gonna have a bone spiel because I really don't think people get it. There's a lot of people that like to give pets bones for some reason. Sure, it's a natural thing. It's like a treat. Oh, I'm gonna eat the bone. But when people give pets bones, turkey bones, things like that, there are certain bad things that can happen. Now, there's two different types of bones. There's cooked bones and there's raw bones. So typically when you're giving a pet like a cooked turkey bone, it's even worse than a raw bone because cooked bones, when you cook them, they brittle up, they get sharper. So when your pet is chewing on the splinters, it can literally splinter inside of them and cut the inside of their stomach, cut the inside of their intestines, cause bleeding out, and can even perforate and cause something called septic peritonitis when bacteria gets from the GI tract into the body cavity and causes pets to go into septic shock and then die. And besides that, even if you're just giving an uncooked bone, regardless of the type of bone you're giving, there's always a chance that that bone could get lodged somewhere down their esophagus, somewhere in their stomach, where you're gonna have to go in and pull it out because they're literally choking on the bone. During your holiday meal, just stay away from the bones, no skeletors. And people say, dogs ate bones in the wild. Yeah, and wolves have fractured teeth in the wild from eating all these bones. Like, dogs are not meant to eat bones. Like, dogs eat poop. They commonly eat things they're not supposed to. Let's not push them into this negative behavior that we don't want them doing. Even though it may feel good for you, your pet may have a nasty tummy ache and eventually may need to have a nasty surgery later on because of it. Just warning you. Just saying. Okay, we all have that grandma that finishes her plate and instead of throwing her scraps, table scraps, in the garbage where they probably belong, she pushes the scraps into the pet's bowl. And you may be asking, is table scraps okay? No! This is an amalgamation of all of those things I talked about that is bad. Fatty foods, foods with garlic in them, foods with onions, things like that. All things that your pet should not be eating. And the thing about scraps is, I'm not gonna say your pet isn't gonna be totally fine if you feed scraps because some pets will. But food in general, just scraps, generally as a vet, I wouldn't recommend it personally. And instead of giving them scraps, instead of giving them all those tasty treats you would love to give your pet, instead, my advice is just to feed them what you've been regularly feeding them. Feed them the food you've been feeding. And for treats, just give them the treats you've been regularly giving them. You're gonna have much less side effects than giving all these things I've talked about in this video. And guys, trust me, I know how it's like. I know what it's like to have a dog under the table whimpering like... His face is so cute, oh my gosh. Stop it! They may be really cute, they may be really tempted to eat what you eat, to want to eat what you want to eat, but I really urge you guys to have a little bit of self-control and avoid all this damage and expensive vet bills later in life by doing a little delayed gratification and giving them some nice treats made specifically for pets, and later on after their meal while you're sitting down with a bigger, fat, tryptophan and full, slumbered belly after the holiday meal, dozing off on your table, then you can give them from their treat bag of regular pet treat. Cool? Got it? Cool. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Stay safe, keep your little chunk happy and healthy, and we'll see you next time, I guess. Hello, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.